people who want to serve and want to give something back. Senator Thad Cochran of Mississippi, my good friend, and I have offered 3 ideas to this bill, and I'm very grateful to Senator Mikulski and Senator Hatch, Senator Enzi, as well, I should have mentioned, for their willingness to accept these ideas. Representative Rosa DeLauro, the Congresswoman from the New Haven area, Connecticut, is the author of these ideas in that body. The first of these we call a semester of service, I mentioned earlier, beginning with younger children, giving them a chance to give something back, learning early the benefit and the value of volunteering, of stepping up, of serving your community. The Semester of Service Act is one that will allow children in the educational system to work right along with math problems, book reports of younger children. A semester of service is for students who are a little older, and we ask our students not only consider themselves residents in their communities, but resources to them. And just as mine did, I have no doubt that the younger generation will respond in that program. The summer of service is also a large part of the bill. The bill provides our middle and high school students unique opportunities to serve. Already in Connecticut, more than 5,500 students take part in community service activities linked to academic achievement. And with this legislation, that's something that we'll be able to do across the country. And lastly, the bill includes many parts of the Encore Service Act, a bill that Senator Cochran and I authored. Enormous experience and wisdom that older Americans have to offer their communities, I mentioned a moment ago. We've all heard about the challenges posed by the 78 million baby boomers near retiring age. And yet Americans are living longer, healthier lives than at any time in our history. And it's time that we look at that growing population of experienced, capable Americans of different professions and backgrounds as the asset that it is and what a difference it can make in our country. And together these programs, including this bill, will encourage older Americans to serve with the greatest need. Whether through the AmeriCorps, the Silver Scholars Program, the legislation offers Encore fellowships for older Americans who have already had full, successful careers to lend to their professional expertise and the experience to the cause of our communities and public service. And it expands the capacity and builds on the success of the current senior programs. And so I commend again my colleagues for doing that. We talk about expanding service opportunities without talking about the AmeriCorps program, and you can't rather do it without talking about the AmeriCorps program, which is the heart of the national service in our country. The Serve America Act will expand the program to include at least a couple 100,000 members, allowing many more Americans to serve each other. Last year alone, 75,000 AmeriCorps members gave back to their communities, and they brought reinforcements. That's 75,000, Mr. President, and this statistic can't be repeated often enough. The 75,000 AmeriCorps volunteers recruited 2.2 million community volunteers. You talk about a ripple effect. Having 75,000 people across our country in AmeriCorps, they went out and recruited 2.2 million people in their communities to get deeply involved and serve their communities. That's the benefit. We talk about the cost of the 75, but the fact that they were able to attract 2.2 million people to also serve, I think is tremendously worthwhile. So, Mr. President, again, I thank our authors of this bill. Proud to be a leading sponsor, co-sponsor of it, for the achievements they've achieved. And as I said a moment ago, it is creating the opportunity. Just as when I was standing on the steps of the east front of the Capitol back 45 or 6 years ago and heard an American president ask us to serve and provided the opportunity, today I think we need to provide that same structure, that same ability for people to serve. They want to. People are anxious to. It's not uniquely American, but that's something we all take pride in. It transcends party and partisan and politics and ideology. People want to serve our country, and we're benefiting from it in ways we can't even imagine. And we need to see to it that this generation is going to achieve or have the same opportunities to fulfill that desire as well. And for all of the reasons that I've mentioned, this bill is very, very worthy of our unanimous support. I hope it would enjoy that. This is one of those moments when I think all of us here, despite our political differences from time to time, recognize the value of this. Whether it's in our faith-based communities, whether it's in our local organizations, we are a richer and stronger, more vibrant nation because people have the opportunity to serve each other. And there's nothing more gratifying, nothing you will ever do that will give you a greater sense of gratification than knowing you've helped another human being, particularly in times like this, when people are struggling so. People losing jobs and homes and retirements out there, they want to know if anybody can help. And every single one of us can make a difference in the life of somebody else. And today, in providing that opportunity through the structures that Senator Mikulski and Kennedy, Hatch, and Hensey are providing, I think is just what we need in an hour like this. So I commend them for it. Let me mention as well, and I know Mike Crapo, a senator from Idaho, came over, my good friend and a very valuable member of the Banking Committee, has offered an amendment, a proposal here to deal with the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. Let me say that I support what Senator Crapo wants to do. This is an idea that is, I believe, necessary. The problem is here twofold. One is, obviously, this bill, we're hoping to deal with it without amendments. The members have worked very closely together to achieve it. That in no way diminishes the point that Senator Crapo is making. We are working on a bill that includes more than just the Crapo amendment, which would be an important addition over the next number of days. We're trying to work it out. Here there's some differences, and I would say respectfully to my colleague from Idaho that I would hope he might reconsider offering the amendment on this bill for the reasons I've mentioned, not because his idea lacks merit. I support the idea, but if we add amendments to this bill, then it's going to make it that much more difficult to get it done. And secondly, there's more to do than just what the Crapo amendment would suggest. And that is going to require a little more time to put that together. There's no immediate emergency here. I've been guaranteed by the FDIC, although they'd like it to get done, it's not something where I think, I've been told in the next that unless we act, there's a catastrophic event that could occur. But clearly we need to move on this. He has my commitment and others that we're going to achieve that. But this hour, at this moment, on this bill, I'd respectfully urge my colleagues, if required, to table this amendment, and even preferably would be to have the amendment withdrawn so we wouldn't have to be in that situation. For that, I yield the floor.